This is Off the Court with OG, presented by Zenni Block. Season 5 of the NBA 2K League is officially over, and congratulations to Bucks Gaming for winning their first 2K League title in franchise history. For the Brooklyn Nets 2K League affiliate Nets Gaming crew, this means the offseason is finally underway. Thanks to our friends over at Zenni Blocks, we get a chance to do this show. We get a chance to speak to NetsGC's general manager and head coach, OG King CURT. For yet another season, Zenni stood by our side through the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows, making sure that we looked good at every tournament. Choose from a deep roster of frames, armor your eyes from harmful blue light, and get your own pair today by visiting zenni.com/netsgc. CURT, let's rock Off the Court episode 33, our first show of the off season. The official off season, now that we've crowned a new champion. I actually looked back on when we did our first off season show last year, and it was episode 10 on September 1st, so almost a year ago exactly today. And here we are 23 episodes later. For our listeners, talk to us about where you are, mentally, where you are physically after your fourth season in the league.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, shout out to Bucks Gaming for bringing home the 5v5 championship, but also shout out to Pistons GC for bringing home the 3v3 championship. Two championships, obtained by the teams that hadn't won before. So it was great to see this past season. But as you mentioned, it's officially off season for us. Unfortunately, the season didn't go the way we wanted it. But I think, as I've mentioned in the past, is that I think we at least can be in position to help build on some better things heading into season 6. But I really just been back home in Dayton, Ohio, spending time with my kids. I have a 12-year-old that's pretty athletic and playing football right now. So I've just been going to his games. I actually got a nephew in the same grade that's playing as well. So I've been flip-flopping, going back and forth in between games. They may eventually meet up somewhere down the line. So that's pretty interesting. So
are you going with the split jersey? Like if you had a choice, the split jersey down the middle?
I probably would if it was like two of my sons, but considering it's my nephew, one's my nephew and one's my son.
That's true.
I'm at to rock out with my son.
Do they ever, going off script, do they ever ask you about 2K, or do they how far does that whole go?
It's funny you say that because my son and them had picture day, and I had on Nets Gaming crew from top to bottom, and a couple of players was like, "You in the 2K league?" And then I told them what I did or whatever, and then got into a whole big conversation about that. But it's kind of funny. And I'm sure my son he goes to school, and he pretty proud of me, so he talk about it. But and he has NetsGC gear and bags and stuff like that, so it's pretty cool.
We normally don't get a chance to, by design, mind you, we don't get a chance to talk about other teams or league storylines that don't involve NetsGC, but I think we'd be doing our community a disservice if we didn't touch on what happened last week in the 2K League 5v5 finals. Congratulations, Detroit. But Bucks Gaming took down Wizards DG to win the Season 5 title. Just talk to me a little bit about, first, how impressive it was to watch Milwaukee go on the run they did, because they had to take down juggernaut after juggernaut on their way to a title. And also how equally impressive it was to watch Wizards DG just continue to do what they do.
Yeah, it's a lot of great players that play in the 2K League, and I think it's always critical about who shows up in the moment, and definitely I think the Bucks turning point Bucks GG's turning point was when they took on the moniker of the Bad Bucks. I mean, and they kind of rocked out with it, and they had two talented guards and Johnny Red and Cooks Iverson, and they wasn't going to be denied. And I think what this build showed us is that guard play is critical. I mean, you can play stellar defense and everything like that, but if you can't put it in the bucket, you're gonna have a hard time winning the games that matter. And they have chemistry. They have played together before. I mean, they both had Cooks has shown how good he could be prior to. And then Johnny Red, came in and they pretty much I wouldn't even say took the league by storm, because I think if you in the space that we are, we kind of knew how talented they were, and I mean it's a reason why both of them were, top 10 picks. So they got hot at the right time, got Dimes in, who I think gave them the stability that they were looking for as far as from a chemistry standpoint. I actually had spent time with Dimes and Johnny Red in Indy. I think what everybody knows about anywhere where the 2K League is at is the hotel lobbies is where everything goes down, as far as conversations and just catching up and hanging out. And I got a chance to hang out with them one night, and I think they both talked about how important it was for Dimes to be there, and how they believed in him and he believed in them. And anytime you take somebody who had in the past been one of the top PGs in 2K and you move him to center, he's able to be a third eye and helping them, facilitate and see the floor. And now he's also a third guard out there from the center spot. So and everybody had a chip on their shoulder. I mean, I'd be reluctant if I didn't mention Dawson, who was a player who didn't play hardly any, and he showed in pre-draft that he's very talented, can play multiple positions, and he had a chip on his shoulder, and he came in and proved it. Cease, same thing, was on one of the worst teams last year. I see a lot of people calling him the worst player, but I think that's a little far-fetched. I mean, environment is everything, and I think you've seen a lot of players struggle in certain environments and come to other environments and do very, very well. So I think that was the case for him. So you put five guys together, they're not only playing for themselves, but they're playing for each other. And most times you get some type of benefit out of that. And for them, it was a championship.
Yeah, and I just touching on Washington and how even though they fell short, how difficult it was to kind of do what they've been doing the last 3 years.
Yeah, truly a dynasty. I mean, I think I've tweeted a lot about Dave Fry. I mean, me and him have a personal relationship, so I mean, and I very utmost respect. But man, he showed everybody what a leader looks like. I mean, and what it's supposed to be, whether that's in victory or whether that's in defeat. And I think he's a 101. Like, I mean, simple as that. I think if anybody is watching the now, they need to go back and do their research. Because I remember a time where people considered Dave Fry to be toxic and not a very good teammate, and overly boisterous to whoever was on his team and things of that nature. But I think, and he always mentioned that he just always wanted to get the best out of the people that he was playing with, and I'll be damned if he hasn't done that for the last 3 years. And I mean, so now it's become one of those things where he's truly made non-believers believers, and he's definitely to date. I know Nudini is the most winningest, but he's definitely probably the most iconic player that we have playing right now in our league.
Yeah, the legacy certainly cemented there. Um, I also like how you brought up like the belief that Milwaukee had. Cooks had talked about it on broadcast once. They got past the Mavs, but that was expected for the most part. But once they got past the Warriors, something clicked, and they're like, "Oh man, this can happen." And then you mix that with skill and, like you had said, the environment, and you got the ingredients for a magical run there. You also talked about guard play and the importance of guard play and how it can make or break a championship run. This year or this offseason, one thing I want to do to on every single episode of Off the Court, or the next 5 episodes, is just do a player review and do one player per episode. And I think for this episode, episode 33, to wrap up the show, I think it makes sense to start with arguably the most important position on the floor when it comes to 2K, the point guard position. So King Hod, right, selected 48th overall in the draft. That's what, the fifth or sixth last pick in the draft that night. He's acquired and brought to Brooklyn via trade from Charlotte. There were flashes and big time moments, like his obvious 11 points in 60 seconds against Knicks Gaming, but there were also very much rookie growing pains. Talk to us about how you felt his season went.
Yeah, I mean, I thought if I had, I guess if I had to describe the season for Hard, I'd probably say challenging. And he went from being trade. This was the first season that we ever did, mid-season trades and things of that nature. And he got started in Charlotte. Had showed some flashes here and there, but I think they were in the same situation as us. They wanted to try a new look and make a move, and so therefore, we traded Tate for Hod, and I think he came over, and I think he did what he could. I mean, at the end of the day, I think he learned a lot about what this league can be, and how difficult it can be at times, but also how rewarding it can be at times. And it's a lot coming at you. I know a lot of players before they make the league, or some who haven't made the league, talk about everything that they could do or what they would do if they made it, and then not realizing all the elements that come with it.
Mm-hmm.
You got 5 different personalities, 5 different attitudes, five different backgrounds, and it takes some time to get to jail if you ever get to that point. And I think like I said, he learned a lot. Me and him had a lot. Aside from 2K, we had a great time. We had some great combos. Talked about a lot of different things. I think me and him had a lot in common. And we expressed that every day. I mean, I think I told him that the worst thing that you know he could get out of this if he didn't excel on the court or anything is that he have a friend in me for life. And we both laughed about it, but definitely Howard's a cool kid. Um, never seen him too low. Never seen him too high. He was just always a cool breeze, right somewhere in the middle, just taking everything in. And he had obviously wanted to play better, and felt like he could have been better. And I think this experience is enough to get him over the hump that if this is something he want to continue to do, then he knows the demand now, and what's it like. I mean, you get some guards that come in the league and they're ready. I mean, and they show it, and then just like in learning in general, there are some people who learn fast. There's some people who it takes some time, and there's nothing wrong with that as long as you learn. And then the next thing is you get another opportunity to show what you have learned. So I think this is going to be a big stepping stone for him to decide, what he wants to do in the future. But I definitely enjoyed his time in Brooklyn this past season, and I always tell the guys is that no matter how the season goes, the memories are forever. The good, the bad, the ugly, the funny, everything. I think my time here in Brooklyn for these last 4 seasons have been memorable all the way around. So looking forward to getting back to the off season grind and prepping up for season 6.
Yeah, 2K never stops, never sleeps, and I love the review. I can't wait to break down each player on the roster this past season 5 with NetsGC. That does it here for us on these quick hitter off the court episodes. Before we sign off, Kurt, any final thoughts, comments, anything?
Yes, I've been doing weekly segments called Dear NBA 2K League Prospects. If you're anyone who's trying to make the league as a player, coach, GM, I'd advise you to tune in and watch them. Also, give feedback. If you have any questions, you can put it on the timeline. If not, shoot me a DM. I will respond when I get a chance. But this is just a segment where I'm giving tidbits on things that I've witnessed, things that I've heard, things that I've experienced personally throughout the league that I feel like will not only continuously help myself, but it'll help those prospects that are looking to make the league.
Yeah, they're already hot right now, and they'll only get more and more popular as we get closer to the season 6 2K League draft. I was gonna try and go as far into the off season as possible without saying those words, but first episode, I guess. That concludes the show. Remember, we're here all off season long to cover more player reviews, retainments, protections just around the corner, draft spot tournaments, the combine, the next UPA event. There's just so much to kind of go over, just to kind of keep us sustained until season 6 of the 2K League. Can't wait to break it all down with you guys. Remember to follow Nets Gaming Crew on all social platforms, including TikTok. On behalf of CURT and everyone over at NetsGC, I'm Kristian Cuaresma, and this was Off the Court with OG.